What's cracking YouTube? Jamil here, and in this video we're gonna go through the anatomy of a wholesale deal, the 2 documents that changed my life. Check it out. All right, so you've decided you are a real estate wholesaler and you are gonna get out there, write a contract, lock up a deal, and then assign that deal to a buyer for a check. So what documents do you need for that to occur, and how do you fill them out? Well, it's pretty simple. The first document you're gonna need is a residential purchase contract to buy your property. Sometimes we call this an A-B contract, okay? Because you're the A and the B is your seller, right? So it'll be a contract between you and your seller. And then the next document you're gonna require is an assignment of that contract, essentially assigning your rights to this contract to your end buyer. Now, I get a ton of DMs from people asking how to fill these contracts out. So in this video, I'm gonna do the boring thing and show you exactly how to fill these documents out. Check it out. All right, guys, so here we have the residential real estate purchase contract. Now, if you don't have a copy of a residential real estate purchase contract, you can go to my IG and send me a DM, and my assistant will send you one of these contracts, and they'll also send you a copy of the assignment contract. But let's not get too caught up on that. Right now, we need to fill out this residential purchase contract. So you've talked to a seller, you guys have agreed to a price. Now you need to fill this out. So essentially, you are the buyer, right? So you're gonna have your name, and let's call you, whoever you are watching this, Awesome Jones. All right, so you are Awesome Jones, and you are the buyer of this property, and you are buying this from Sweaty Seller. So Awesome Jones wants to buy this property from Sweaty Seller, and the address is 123 Main Street. And usually this assessor's number is the APN, not necessary to fill out in a contract. So if you don't have access to this because you don't have the MLS, don't worry about it. City, I'm in Phoenix. County would be Maricopa, but again, not super necessary to fill that out. And then the zip code, 85018. Legal description, again, I've never filled out the legal description on any contract. If the title company requires it, let them handle that. So here, the full purchase price of what I'm paying. So if I and the seller, so if Awesome Jones and Sweaty Seller have agreed for this deal to be done at, let's say, $100,000, that's what we're gonna write here. And the earnest money is what we have agreed to be the amount as of the deposit of what we're gonna put down for this contract to be valid. Now, I don't necessarily suggest that you go any higher than like $100 to $500. So let's just put $100 here as what our earnest money is gonna be. And that means that what's gonna be due at signing is gonna be $99,900. Does that make sense? $100 is gonna be my deposit. My purchase price is $100,000, and what I'm gonna owe at close of escrow is $99,900. Pretty simple. Let's say that we've agreed that the close of escrow date is gonna be, and I'm just gonna make an arbitrary date up here, 4/20/2021. I don't know why I picked that date, but let's just say that's just the date. So that's the date of close, and then possession. So the reason why possession and close of escrow aren't the same is because sometimes sellers will stay a little bit longer. So if there's gonna be a post possession, that might be noted here. But if this is gonna be the same as close of escrow, we're just gonna write on here for 20/20/21. And then all of these things, this is fixtures and personal property. So say you and the seller have decided that they're gonna leave all the appliances except for the fridge. You can put that in here. So all appliances except fridge. Now, anything that you put in a contract, guys, if you're making an adjustment, so like this would be, needs to be initialed by the buyer and the seller. So both Awesome Jones and Sweaty Seller need to initial right beside it in order for this to be a valid change. Don't forget the initials. Typically, the seller is on the left and the buyer is on the right. So Sweaty Seller will be here and Awesome Jones will be there. On to the next page. More personal property. So again, we talked about here, fixtures and personal property, this just kind of gets into more exclusion, so you can get specific. Like if you're gonna buy their personal porcelain doll set, you might write in porcelain dolls here. So porcelain dolls are gonna be left. You put that in here. Again, remember, Sweaty Seller and Awesome Jones both have to sign that. And then financing, I like to leave the financing clause in, just in case. It allows you another opportunity to cancel a deal closer to the close of escrow date. We can get into that in another video where I'll talk about strategies and ninja tactics on how to cancel a deal if you need to cancel a deal. That's never my intention, but sometimes it's a requirement. And then again, don't forget these things, they're necessary. Sweaty Seller and Awesome Jones have to initial. On we go to the next. Right here, type of financing. So typically we are gonna be cash or hard money. So I just leave all this stuff blank, and none of this really needs to be filled out. So a lot of times wholesalers stop because they get all weird over here and they're like, oh, what do I write on this stuff? So I just leave it blank. If it's not necessary for us to deal with, then leave it blank. Title and escrow. Guys, this is super important. Make sure you have already made a relationship with your title company that you know is going to be investor friendly before you put a title company in here. I can't tell you how many deals I've seen fall apart because you put some janky ass title company in here that's not going to allow assignments, that's not going to allow a double escrow, that won't allow a wholesale transaction, and then you want to move title after the deal has already been done. That is total BS. You need to have this relationship figured out before you get to this point. So here, because I own a title company, it's called Magnus West Title. I'm putting that in here, and then their phone number. I don't know it off the top of my head. I should, because it's my company, but whatever. And then Sweaty Seller and Awesome Jones also have to initial there. And we move on to the next. Over here, again, this is just talking about tax expirations. Those get handled at close of escrow through the title company. Release of earnest money. So if you default on this, this essentially says that you are going to be held harmless except for the liquidated damage of losing your earnest money. So if you are unsuccessful in actually closing, you will lose your $100 earnest deposit if you don't cancel this within the inspection period. So keep that in mind, something to pay attention to. So again, I'm just gonna leave all these blank, but I'm gonna make sure that Sweaty Seller and Awesome Jones initial here. And then the due diligence period. So this is what we as wholesalers really rely on, is the time that's in this due diligence period here. On this contract, it says 10 days. So that means that I have 10 days to figure out what I'm gonna do with this contract and what my due diligence on this property is gonna be. So that's acceptable to me, so I'm gonna leave that. If I wanted to make that 30, I would just write in 30, and then I would have Sweaty Seller and Awesome Jones initial. You guys get the picture. Cure periods. So cure periods are interesting. This is what is entitled to allow any party of the contract an opportunity to comply with something in the contract that might be in breach. I know that was a mouthful, but I'll explain it again. Say for instance, I don't deposit earnest money in time, so I've breached my contract. This essentially allows me 3 days to remedy upon given notice that I need to remedy. So if I don't close in time, this allows me 3 extra days to close. So this is a real awesome addition to a contract that allows you an opportunity to extend or to breach a contract, but then 3 days to fix your breach, if that makes sense. And then again, Sweaty Seller and Awesome Jones need to initial, and on we go. And this here, guys, additional terms and conditions. So this is just if you've made any other promises, like seller to leave all junk at property, seller to receive a 10-day post-possession. So they're gonna stay an additional 10 days after the close of escrow, a $5,000 holdback to be held in escrow until property is certified vacant. If premises are not vacated by within 10 days of COE, seller to forfeit entire hold back and funds will be immediately released to the buyer. I just gave you guys a lesson on how to create a post-possession agreement. That's essentially the verbiage you would use. And then anything else in here that's super important, not really. So just remember, sweaty seller and Awesome Jones have to initial there. Earnest money, typically personal check. So you just put that in there, that you're gonna be putting a personal check for that $100. And then this is it. This is the part that consummates the contract, right? So the buyer here is Awesome Jones, and today's date, whatever it is, let's just say it's 4/1/2021. And then the address, you're gonna fill in your address and your state and all that. Title company is gonna need all that. And then the seller here is gonna be Sweaty Seller, and then their full name printed and all that, and then initial. So guys, that's how you fill out a purchase contract, super simple. This shouldn't be the reason why you don't take a step forward, okay? This is really an easy document. Again, remember, if you don't have a copy of a purchase contract, just reach out to me on my Instagram and we'll get you a copy of a purchase contract. And then we're gonna go and talk about next, the assignment contract. So I'm gonna show you guys how to fill that out. And this is just a simple one pager, right? Because all you're doing is assigning your rights to this contract using this assignment, all right? So now we're gonna fill out the assignment. All right, so the assignment contract is super simple. As you guys can see, it's just one sexy page document. A lot of times people get confused of who's the assignor and who's the assignee. So I like to think of this as the assignor is the person holding the contract, they're assignors, and then the assignees are the people that you're assigning the contract to, right? So because I was the original contract holder, in this one it says Keegley Investments, but over here we actually had Awesome Jones. So what I'm gonna write in here is Awesome Jones. So Awesome Jones is the assignor. The assignee is going to be whoever my buyer is. So we're gonna call my buyer Flipper Man. So Flipper Man is my buyer or the assignee. And then the property that we're assigning was on 123 Main Street. Remember guys, I made an adjustment here, so this has to be initialed by Awesome Jones, sorry, and who? Flipperman. And then right here, close of escrow. This is super important. The close of escrow date that you had on your original contract, 4/20/2021, is the same date that needs to be here. That's the only way that this is gonna close properly and on time. Now, my earnest money here was $100, but I really want my buyer to be committed to this deal. So I typically don't allow for anything under $5,000 as an earnest deposit for an assignment. So that's how much my buyer has to deposit in escrow in order for this to be a consummated agreement. And then over here, this is how you get paid, okay? So the disbursement of fees. So the purchase contract earnest money and assignment earnest money shall be as follows. The assignment fee will be calculated as the difference between the sale price of the contract, which is there, $100,000, which is the subject of the assignment, and the amount of, so this is what I'm gonna be selling this property at. So let's just say I'm making $10,000 on this property. So my assignment fee is gonna be 10 grand. That means that what I have to write in here is $110,000. So just to kind of walk this back to you, the assignment fee will be calculated as the difference between the sale price of the contract, that $100,000, which is the subject of this assignment, and the amount of $110,000, and the assignment fee will be dispersed to the assigner at close of escrow and paid through escrow. The assignee needs to pay all closing costs. So this is what lets your buyer know that they're having to pay closing costs for this entire transaction, all right? So they're paying all these closing costs. This assignment fee, this $10,000 assignment fee, which is the difference between this and this, is simply a line item on the HUD. Okay, a line item on the HUD. That's it. And then assignment of earnest money. This is what's awesome. So if you don't have EMD and you're like, oh my gosh, like say for instance, you're working through a real estate agent and this had to be like $1,000 and not $100. And now all of a sudden you're like, where am I gonna get $1,000? Oh my gosh. But you find a buyer and they put $5,000 up. Well, this assignment, this magical assignment allows that $1,000 to be credited from this $5,000. And it all happens in this line right here. The assignment earnest money is to be credited towards the assignee's purchase costs of the close of escrow. Assignee will forfeit all assignment earnest money to the assigner if the escrow does not close. So this is what allows you to get this $5,000 if your buyer doesn't close on time, which is amazing. What else does this allow you to do? It also allows you to cancel if they do not do this, if they do not consummate this deal, or if they do not perform on this contract. So say for instance, your buyer fails to perform, this assignment will allow you to cancel them out, seize that $5,000 and resell this property to another buyer. Pretty dang nifty. Now, this, as all contracts, has to be stated. In the event of a dispute between the assignor and the assignee regarding the assignment earnest deposit, the assignor and the assignee authorize the title company, which was Magnus West Title, so that's what I would write. That we authorize Magnus West to release the assignment earnest money pursuant to the terms and condition of this assignment in its sole discretion. So make sure you have a good relationship with your title company because they can just make this decision and send you that $5,000. The assignee also agrees to hold harmless Magnus West for their decision in giving you that earnest money should there be any problems. So this really protects you, and it also protects the title company in order for them to give you that $5,000 if they do not perform on this contract. The earnest money that was deposited by the assignor for this purchase contract shall be refunded back to the assigner upon the close of escrow between the seller and the assignee. So what this also says is that should there be a problem in the title, that your buyer will get their earnest money back. So remember guys, clear title has to be available in order for this deal to go through. You can't take somebody's $5,000 EMD if you can't sell them the house. And that's fair, that's just like legitimate, right? So that's why that's in there. And then that's it, that's all you gotta do. So here, again, we signed this on April 1st. So just putting in this first day of April 2021, and I'm gonna sign. And then my buyer is gonna sign here. So that's it guys. These two documents filled out correctly when you get a deal under contract, your purchase contract and your assignment of contract can literally change your life. It changed my life. It's how I've made millions of dollars. It's how I built this amazing company. And you can do the same with just these two documents. So what do I suggest? Get out there, make some mistakes, go take some action, talk to some sellers, lock up a deal, find a buyer and assign that deal to them and go change your life. Folks, if you got any value out of today's video, do me a favor, hit the like button and also subscribe to this channel because it'll notify you whenever I put out any new content. In addition to that, please leave us a comment. I look at them, read them, and respond to them, and they make me feel good. And I will see you all in the next one. Thanks so much.